Good morning, everybody. It's actually afternoon now. I'm running a little bit late. However, hello. Welcome to Art Journaling Australia. I know we've had so many new people join in last week. I'm super excited. We've got more than 200 in the group now, so it's really cool. And I today am going to have a little quick chat, but I'm going to do a little 5-minute paint along with you all in my little mini art journal, my little tiny one. I mentioned the other day that I was going to do the sunflower. I'm just going to show you my little technique. But I want to talk today, I've just been working with a client around working with art, and the lady was really scared to come in and see me because she thought I would be really judgy about how she does art. And we had a big conversation about it, and I expressed to her that the way that I do art is a little bit unconventional as well, because I am a self-taught artist. I'm not trained in art. I have not done a fine arts degree or anything like that. I art from the heart because that is the way that my art conveys. Some days I might feel a little bit crazy. I might do some crazy art. Some days I might feel very centered, so I might do some very serious drawing. Some days I might feel a little bit out there, so I might do a little bit of out there. Some days I might feel playful, so I just go for the playfulness of the art. And this is the thing, is we really just need to create with creativity, right? Without judging it, without overthinking it, and just let it be. So don't overthink it, just do it. And be okay with it, because the only people that are judging it is us, is ourself. Nobody else is. And you might get people who might judge your artwork, but does it really matter? It doesn't, because they've not created it. So that's my little tip for today, is just do the art. Don't worry about what it looks like. Just go with the process, because once you start to go with the processes, you'll really start to connect in with the creativity part of it. So today I'm going to just be using, and I probably can't show you this on the camera, but I'm using a very watered down acrylic. So I'm just using an acrylic based paint, and I'm watering it down with water, so it's like quite runny. So it's almost like a watercolor, but not a watercolor, because I don't love watercolor. Not my favorite medium to use. And I like the way the acrylic retains its color on my art journal page, and I can go over it a little bit more. And my camera is probably wibbling a bit because I'm rubbing paint around on my table. So all I've basically got is 4 colors. I'm going to be using orange, purple, yellow, and pink for this image. And then I've got a black marker that I'm going to use as an outliner. And then after I've done the 5-minute artwork, then this is where you can go a little bit more into your art journal and maybe write some words or some poetry, or add a background, or whatever it is that you might want to work with in your art journal, because it's really an expression of you and what you need to bring in on the day. I'm going to start, and I'm going to try and paint like this. So I'm just going to start with pink, and I'm going to do a small circle in the middle, just as my, oh, that one's probably too big. Yeah, I'll make it a little bit smaller. Oh, hang on a minute. I've really mucked that one up. I'm working on very small paper, which I'm not really used to. I normally have like much bigger works. Okay, so I'm going to start with a really small circle in the center. And what I'm going to do is just get some of the purple, and I'm just going to start dabbing little dots in the middle. So as you can see, it's not anywhere in particular, so I'm just going for it. Little dots in the middle. Then I'm going to pick up a little bit of the pink and do the same. Little dots in the middle, because I'm just going to create the center of my flower. I'm just going to thicken that up a bit. So I did not even wash my brush really in between the 2 colors. So I'm just dotting the paint in that central circle that I just created. So you can see how I've just done that. It's really quite a simple little color scheme. And we'll come back and add a little bit more to this in a minute. So now I am washing my brush because I'm going to use orange and yellow, and I don't want that to mix with the purple. And what I do, I actually have a little squeezy bottle with water in it so that I can get clean water into my paint, because if you use the water that you've got in your water washing container, you'll end up with like lots of yucky colors in that. So if you try and add that water into your paint, it can make it a bit mucky. So I always have a little bottle of fresh clean water available when I'm doing this kind of thing. So all we're going to do now is I'm going to create some nice little leafy shapes. Now you can create as many, I don't know, just go around. It's going to go off the page, which is fine. So I'm just going to create a whole bunch of leafy shapes, and they're all different sizes. So don't be too over the top of the perfection in this. We want it to be a little bit rough looking, a little bit rustic looking. And as you can see, mine has gone over the page on a couple of places, which is fine. And then all I'm going to do here is I'm going to fill in some of these spaces. And bearing in mind I'm holding it upright, I'm just going to fill in some of these spaces, but then I'm also going to add a little bit of orange into it as well. So just to give it a little bit of highlight and a little bit of mix. So just in the center, so you can see how it's just blended a little bit there. Oops. It's a little bit more of an orange tone than a yellow, which is fine. If you want to lighten it up, that's fine as well. If you want to go with a different color, like maybe a pink and yellow will make like a peachy sort of color, you could do that. I'm going to stick with the orange on this one. So just working quite quickly with the acrylic, and then I'm just going to bring in that little bit of orange just to blend. So just a few little lines of the orange. Oops, that was a bit much, and that's all right. No mistakes in art, remember? So that one's a little bit darker, so I might just bring that down into here a little bit more. I might come back and add a bit more yellow to that one. But you can see how as we go, each of the leaves will look a little bit different, and we'll have another little layer added to this as well. And I may need to do that in a second video because this paint's going to be a little bit wet to do it with my texture. It'll make it go a little bit yucky. We'll see how we go. So I'm just going to keep taking that orange through into the flowers. So you can see I've got this nice little sunny flower. And then once you have finished your little sunny flower, and this one's still a little bit wet, I'll keep going and just see how we go with the technique. Anyway, I'm going to just use a black marker. So I've just got like a black, you can use a Sharpie, a fine tip marker, whatever you've got. I'm just using this jewel tip marker, so it's just the thinner edge of the jewel tip marker. And I'm going to just go around the edges, but we want to make it a little bit rough, so you're not tracing. We're just going to make it a little bit rough. Oh, that one doesn't even work at all. Somebody's used that. When you use these markers on paint, the nib dries and then you end up with no ink left in them. So I'm going to just use that other end. You can't really even see that because that text is not really working. I have to use a different color. Hang on a minute. Here's another one. Let's see how this one goes. Oh, that one's a bit better. No, it's not working. I'll have to come back when it's dry because it's not allowing me to do it. But you can see what I'm getting at here is we're going in with rough lines. We don't want it to be perfect. And we're going to put a few little marks around the leaves as well. I'm going to come back to this one when it's dry so you can see the final picture. And then once you've finished your little flower, this is where you can get like super creative. You could paint the background, you could write some words, you could, this particular book is my circle book, so I'm actually going to add here some circles and follow through the patterns through my book in that circular pattern, and I've got the circle in the middle, which is really nice. So 5-minute art is all it is, really, just getting it out there, putting something on the paper and then creating. And then we can add the layers, because always I love art journaling is all about layering and just seeing where it goes. If you don't like it, you could go over it with some white paint or some white gesso and lighten it down a little bit and do something else. So when mine is dry, I will do a little bit more of a video on the next part of my process, and I'll post it. It won't be live. I'll just record it and post it underneath here, so you can see my next part of this process of this journal page, and let's see what it comes out like. And if you're doing this with me, if you're going to journal along and do the flower, share it with us, because everybody's sharing some beautiful artwork. I'm loving seeing it all. Very inspiring. And I love that it is inspiring some of you to pick up the paintbrush and create again. So thank you for that. Thanks, Jane. So get creative today. Don't overthink it. Get some colors. It doesn't really matter what colors you use. And even if you wanted to do this activity just with some textures, you don't even have to use paint. Just be really creative in the process and just allow it to all unfold. Don't overthink. So that's my tip for today, my beautiful friends. Art journal away, and please share your work. So bye for now, and we'll talk to you all again really soon. Oh, and don't forget, and I know Jane will share this, so thanks, Jane, on the 24th of June, which is actually this coming weekend, Saturday the 24th of June, I've got the free masterclass, The Beauty of Imperfection, Zoom workshop at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. You will need a magazine. It can be any magazine, it doesn't matter, that you can rip up, or a book or something, whatever images that you might want to use that you can rip up. You will need a black marker or some black paint, and possibly a white marker if you want to do some wording and things like that. So I use a white paint pen. You could use a white gel pen, a white pencil, whatever materials you've got around, but just an old magazine that you can rip up would be great, and some glue, of course, because we're going to glue things down. And we're actually going to be doing a little bit of reverse journaling in that, the art of imperfection, or the beauty of imperfection. So I'm really looking forward to that workshop with everybody. Jane will pop the link below for you to register. I believe we've opened a few more spaces because we have had a lot of RSVPs to this group or to this event. So if you can please register, that would make it a lot easier for us and get your materials ready. And I look forward to seeing you on Saturday afternoon in a Zoom class. So bye for now. Happy creating.